All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So it is Monday, the 21st of March, 2022, about 5 minutes past the hour here. We're opening up in about 25 minutes. We should make this pretty straightforward as we just sent out the broad market analysis covering all the good things that you wanted to hear about. SPY, Qs, DIA, IWM. We talked about the skew, the dollar, and we talked about how all of those things, how they're coming together. And basically, we are looking for a little bit of resistance this morning, but we have to take into account that all of these things, they're kind of telling us that the market is at a point where it might want to digest the last 4 days of its previous move. So give us just a second. I'm going to pull up the ES futures. This is our blueprint for this morning. Let me go ahead and go over this with you. And remember, I'm using ES futures for the last, it's going on a decade maybe. It's been a while. We use ES futures as our guide in the market. Basically, if ES or the SPY or the SPX is going sideways, in most situations, the market is doing the same exact thing. All right, so I'm using levels here, supply and demand, some Fibonacci, support and resistance. All these things just kind of come together and give us a really good blueprint. And you guys have seen that over the years and over time, how well these trendy lines do. So let's go ahead and look at a few things. We'll turn on the edges here in a second. I have them turned off. My expected range, let's go ahead and talk about that this morning, is 44.95.75 by possibly the support down here, which is around 43.89.5. Now, we said yesterday the 4 hours is just so important, right? Because we're having this stairs up right now, which, is fun. But if you think about it, it's still pretty slow. We're having a good time. We're staying patient, waiting for it to come back to the cloud. Then that's been a great place to buy. And then overnight, same thing. We looked for that pullback. We went inside and then we pulled back. We didn't quite touch the cloud. That's okay. We don't have to. And as we move up here this morning, we're currently flat. One very important look that I want to see is whether or not we're going to make a lower high and then just kind of drift sideways. Then you'll see a little bounce, but you still won't go over the high, and then we'll kind of come back and possibly touch this cloud. Now, I love drawing things out, so I want you to see this really quick. We're going to zoom in. All right, nice rounding bottom. Love that. All right, so again, we need to take out this high. If you would on your charts, just take a line, pull it across just like this. We want to see a higher high. That means it needs to go over the previous pivot high. I want to see it come back, retest that level. What was resistance turns into support. We need to make that higher high. All right. So even if we break, all right, use a 3 to 5 minute candle this morning. This is really going to help us stay on the right side of the trade. We need something smaller. We're looking at the 4 hour, making sure that we're holding this cloud. But once we go over this area, I'm looking at a 3 to 5 minute. Okay, and if we can go inside, test what was resistance, make the higher high, then we're off to these levels that I've given you over the weekend. All right, now another important thing to take away from this chart is the 618. All right, the 618 is the golden Fibonacci. All right, now we've been in a down trend, but we are now moving. All right, so we're moving up in a down range. That's it, and this stays down and sideways, see that? That's just a big channel, unless we can break over the 618. Now, the 618 says that that trend, that downtrend, is now broken, and the uptrend will then take back over. All right, and so I'm hearing a lot of different things out there, and I've studied Fibonacci's for a very long time, and I'm very confident in these levels. We are having fun. We had fun last week, right? We're able to buy the dip at the trendy edge and have a good time trading to the upside, but the bigger picture remains. If we can't get over the 618, then right now we just need to take it as a day-to-day kind of move. I'm not here to tell you that the market's going to crash again or that we need to go down to this level or that level. We are going to if this, then that. So if price is going to get over these levels again, the uptrend is back in effect. Okay, if we're just kind of hanging here, we're going to continue trading the trend off of this cloud. The bigger test is going to be here. You could see that both times we failed. All right, and let's go ahead and let me show you that. Again, this is 618 of this entire move. All right, so that is the 4 hour. Let me go over here to the daily. These are all very important for you to see. We're above the cloud finally. All right, that's a big deal. And we pushed over it very nicely. See over here, we talked about this leading up to this, that every time we try to get over the cloud, it was a very short-lived bull run, if you would. And then things failed. Notice how much we've extended over the cloud now. Well, that's a good start for the bulls. Can we hold above the cloud? All right, so pay attention to all of these time frames, 4H, the daily, and the weekly. Let's go ahead and go to the weekly. All right, so the weekly, you can see we are just kind of hanging right above the cloud. That's a good thing, right? Good things happen above the cloud on the weekly. You could see that. We could go back and show you that since the inception of the market. However, this is a very big candle, all right? This is a very big candle, and when big candles like this, chaotic candles happen, a lot of times the market needs to digest that move. All right, so we're going to do something together. Again, everything I say, everything I go over is pretty much impromptu. So let's take a little journey really quick, and let's just like look at this candle. All right, how big is that candle? If you go back and you look for an up candle, that's the size of this one, you would have to agree with me that it's not very typical, right? It's not normal to see something that big. This is pretty close, all right? Down here, this is pretty close. This is back when COVID happened, right? Notice what happened after this. So a lot of people are saying that this pullback reminds them a lot of 2020. And we traded that. Most of you were here with me when we traded that. The only difference is that this candle was an inside candle. And I'll have to tell you, in my opinion, this was an easier candle to trade off of. We have an engulfing candle that we're coming out of, and typically these like to digest. But again, I have these levels on here, and I want to make sure that I'm paying attention to those because that's all that really matters to me right now. All right. So again, expected range, all right, is going to be this support level down here. I went over that just a few minutes ago, and this resistance level right here, and then 618. Let's go ahead and turn on the trendy edges really quick. All right, there we go. High in sight. Let's go ahead and talk about it after the fact. But these levels were here before price got here. That's what's important. This is where we go long. This is where we went long. All right. And as we get closer to the upper purple line right above it, this is where we want to take a little bit of caution. Doesn't mean that we can't continue trading to the upside. What it means is that if you were in 15 positions, you now like break it down, scale out. All right. And maybe you're just holding 5 positions. All right. That's what that means. Just your allocation kind of changes from here as well. All right. A couple ideas that I have going into this week is selling premium somewhere above here. All right. And if I'm wrong, I just buy back the short side. So premium as in a spread, credit spreads, selling call credit spreads up here. And if I'm wrong, I just buy back the short side and we ride that trend up here towards 4665. All right. And I'll show you a couple of stocks that we can use that with. All right. So again, above the cloud, edges, take a little bit of caution up here, 618. Notice that we came back here, 7 February and 31 January. Both times the 618 or this level was an issue, okay? And it continues to be. Notice that is also confluent with the ME or the monthly edge, okay? And so all of that makes sense to us. We understand that as price moves up closer to one of these edges, that it is resistance until proven otherwise. We also understand that the 618 is resistance until proven otherwise. So there's a lot of confluence in here. Be careful. All right. Now, as I said over the weekend, a lot of times the market will create some sort of PTSD. Seriously. So during this time, now everybody, if you go out and you look at sentiment, everybody's calling for the next crash, right? And this is, in my opinion, how bears, right, are created. They can't get over it. And I told you this would happen, right? So once we bounce, you just don't believe it, right? It's like the first day, oh, okay, that's just a dead cat bounce. Second day will crash. Second day happens, right? Market continues up. Third day, I can't believe this is happening. Fourth day, I think I'm going to go long, right? And so people sit and they freeze for so long. And that's why we use the trendy edges to help us feel that confidence that we're buying where other buyers are willing to buy. All right. And as we get close and retail for the majority are really starting to get pumped up, we start to back off a little bit. That's the idea, is we want to be on the right side of the trade. Now, we could see 6 days up. All right, we could see 6 days up. Please keep that in mind. So that's why we're going to go to a smaller time frame this morning. Okay, and we're going to use the PMZ, the pre-market zone, just like we did on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to do the same exact thing. We're bumping up here against the trendy edge. We need to make higher highs, and then we'll look to be taking a trade. Let's go ahead and move on to SPY. So for every 10 points or so in the ES, you're looking at $1 in the SPY. All right, pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and turn on our pre-market zone. It is on. I just want to show you really fast what that looks like. This was your pre-market zone, okay, from last week on the 18th. Okay, look how nice this worked for us. It came into our zone, it pushed up, it broke above our cloud, and then you look to take the trade. We got some buy signals. Notice how the cloud holds. This is great when we're uptrending. Okay, now after a big move, let me go ahead and just kind of compact this for you. After a big move, and you have to say that was a big move, all right, we like to digest. So what's going to happen today, let's just go ahead and paint our PMZ on here. Let's just say it's going to be about right here. A lot of times what you'll find after a big move is a digest period, choppiness. All right, so understand that the PMZ may not be as easy as it was when we were trending, right? Because it needs to digest, and a lot of times we'll digest, we'll come up, we'll show everybody, hey, you know, bulls are still in charge, but they won't take out the previous high. Then they'll kind of bring it in, they'll start scaring people, and then people call for the crash again, and then, you know, you see something like this. And so you get a lot of sideways action and maybe a breakout later in the day. All right. So patience, big time. After a big move, cool the jets, find your patience, zen out, relax. Don't try to rush anything. The market's always here. And we'll just if this, then that. So this morning, folks, if price can break over the previous highs, build base on the high side, then things look good for the bulls. Okay? And then we'll continue up into those targets I gave you over the weekend, which is around 452. Okay? To the downside, a little bit different story. There's one of our Tesla. I keep seeing some bear candles being formed here, and we expected that into resistance. We'll go over that here in a second. But again, you know, I'm looking at this entire move right here. All right. You want to take this trend into consideration. You could see, you know, from this last move up, if it can't break down below 440, I'm not too concerned. Again, my target's up here towards 452. All right. So again, down here, if it can't break above or below 440, no concerns. If we take out the highs, we build above that. I'm looking for 452. Timing is the variable. I'm not saying 452 today. Could, who knows? But that's the target I'm looking for right now. All right. All right, let's go ahead and come over here into Tesla just to see what kind of pre-market action has happened. We came up into the resistance line. I put it just a little bit above the trendy edge, but regardless, you can see that price is moving up into the trendy edge, and we're just kind of like hanging around there trying to flag a little bit before the market opens. My support levels for this morning, let's go ahead and turn these off. When I turn those off, you could see the target's a little bit better over here on the right-hand side. So our support levels, the top white line is 909. The bottom line down here is 900.69. This is a support level for me this morning. You can see we already came back and touched it a little bit. All I'm doing is drawing some fibs of the range that I have picked out. And so, you know, I expect this range to hold as long as this trend continues to stay bullish. It's a if this, then that. All right. Resistance, same thing I just showed you on the SPY. Very important. All right. Do they give us this look where every time they poke up, they get you excited, but they're not taking out the high? All right, so what you could do is you could draw a line on here, okay, if you want. like a trend line to kind of help you out. Now, I don't like to trade shapes, meaning I'm not going to trade something and put a ton of money behind it just because like it's ascending triangle and it breaks a little bit. In my opinion, that's where a lot of retail traders get hammered. There's got to be a little bit more confluence than that. All right. But to kind of help you out, you could do a line like this. All right. If we could break over this trend line, that's one step. Two steps above the previous high. Okay. Just like that. Break, pull back, retest, higher highs. Then we're looking to take that trade. And I'm already in it, but this is what I'd like to see for the bulls. All right. Now, if I want to add, I could do that as well. We're still out like 25 days or 24 days. So where would I like to add? You know, if we break this support and come back to here around 870, this would be an area that I would add into. Okay. But I prefer this support line right here to hold. Okay. Some other things that have been working really well is, you know, let's look at Amazon. I think, you know, I did okay there on butterflies, but they had a hell of a day on Friday. Same thing. They've hit all of our targets, matter of fact. Let's go back here. That's the daily. Very nice. Came into the inside and up. Check this out. Then move right up into the red box. Same thing here. You have a little bit of range. If Amazon can hold above the clouds around 2970, then we could see prices move up towards 3677. All right. Now, because the split may or may not happen in the future, I'd love to see it settle at 3,000. That's just me, $150 a share for the 20-to-1 split. That would be really nice. You know, I hate to see it keep going higher and then the stock gets more expensive, even though we get a 20-to-1. You know, again, this is something that I would like to buy for the kids. Very happy that they're looking at doing that split, but I don't want it to go too high. All right. So just pay attention to the highs up here. If they can't take them out, I do think that we drift back down and possibly, you know, before the split, maybe settle around 3,000. Maybe it's 4,000. If this, then that. Okay. All right. So oil futures, a big one. I want to go over this as well. I may trade this for a short. I'm just waiting. Okay. Trying to be patient. And this area right here, the 109.5, that's what I'm waiting for. There's an inside and down here on the daily. I'm looking for resistance in this area. I don't have to short it right away, folks. All right. Let me be clear here. What I want to see is for price to push up into this level. And I don't care if it keeps going. I'm not going to do anything until it breaks back below. Then I can use this high as a stop. Now, just to let you know, I'm thinking about options on the future side, not straight up contracts. All right. And you know what I'm talking about if you're a futures trader. If you're not, don't worry about it. All right. But that's what I'm looking at is for resistance to come in at or around this area. Okay. Now, hopefully, I want to see this area work. You know, I don't want to see this because, you know, gas for boats and jet skis and all that fun stuff out here gets very expensive. It's already close to, I think all the water. We're talking, I mean, it's close to $6, probably around California prices. I'm not sure. I think it's pretty close though. All right. So anyways, that's what I'm looking for today. I did put a chart out for BAC as well. All right, let's go ahead and go over that just really quick. I'll go to a 4-hour. Looks like we're already approaching target one, but stop is in here around 42.73. Expect a little bit of resistance here at T1. And again, we pushed this out a little bit earlier and then targets 44.12 and then a gap fill potentially around $45. I like this chart. You don't need this channel on here anymore. Kind of keep it clean. This was from the previous trade. And again, broke over the cloud. The cloud's holding. Nice little cup here. And then possible breakout to these upper targets here. I love BAC. The options are fairly inexpensive. It can move if you catch it right. This has been one of my favorite trades over the last couple of years to get in and out of. So, all right, so we're going to open up here in about 5 minutes. Again, my focus going forward is going to be SPY, Qs, DIA, and IWM. So right before that, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to set up these. All right, so what I'm doing is pulling out the blueprints for this week. And basically, we're going to go over these and trade the neutral strategy. All right. So good luck to everybody. I'll be right here for the first several hours, and then we'll take a break. And then I have some education content that I want to go over this week, and I'll send that out just for anyone that needs a refresher in several different things. I plan to do probably 30 to 60 minutes on some various topics in here. All right, during the midday, and I'll record it if you can't make it, and then we'll just send it out, and I'll be able to share that with you. All right. So let's get these guys ready. Remember the neutral box is in here. There we go. There's the next one. You can see everything's in the neutral so far. DIA and IWM at least. And looks like the same thing for the Qs. So not much to do as we open up here. Let's see where the SPY is. SPY is pretty close. Possible breakout here. Just be careful. Let's look for that high first. And then we'll look for these targets. All right. Anyways, I appreciate you guys. Good luck. We got 4 more minutes. We'll see you then.